Hello everyone, welcome to the first day of class on UI UX design using Figma. So right now I'm going to launch Figma application, and you can also do so if you have Figma installed on your system. One of the advantages of Figma is the fact that you can use Figma for free. And if you don't already have Figma installed on your system, like I have now, you can head over to the website of Figma, www.figma.com, to sign up, download the application, or if you don't want to download the application, you can actually use Figma online for free. So click on the button to download Figma or log in, sign up, create an account, then start using Figma within your browser. Another advantage of using Figma is the fact that you can also collaborate with team members. So collaborating with team member means if you have a project you are working on at the moment, you can always go to share your design with other friends, clients, and anyone that you intend to give access to your project. So once you give the link to your project to anyone you want, they can, you can all work together on that same project. Now let's get started with Figma. So first thing you want to do now is, once you find yourself on this screen, the first thing you want to do is you want to start a new project. And before you do so, I want you to pay attention to um, the left sidebar over here where you can create new theme. And creating new theme means you can collaborate with friends, with any other person you want to work on your project together. Then the other thing you can find over here is recent projects that you've designed using Figma. Now let's get started immediately. So if you come back to drafts, you can easily create a new file starting from the drafts button on the left sidebar. So once you're on draft, then look over to the right side at the top. You see a button that says new. So click on that button. Then from the list you can find there, you can see design file. So this is where we are going to start creating our UI UX design. So click on this button that says design file. Then it will open a new tab for you to start creating your UI UX design. Then one other ways you can start a new project without using this button over here is by coming to the plus sign you can see here. So once you click on this plus sign, it creates a new tab for you, and it asks you to click on design file or FigJam file. So the one we need right now is the design file. So once you click on design file, it will also open an untitled um, tab for you where you can start designing. So now we are on the Figma interface. Now this is what Figma looks like, and whatever you want to design is going to happen within the empty space you can see over here. What you can see here is divided into many parts. One which you can see on the left side here, which is the left side bar, and the one you can see on the right side. Then if you look at the top here, you can see activities happening over here, and the top side is also divided into three parts, where this is one of the parts, this is the middle part, and this is the right part of the top side of the screen. So now let's get started with the top side of the screen, and starting from the left. Now on this left side, you can see the Figma logo that says main menu. So once you click on the drop down menu that says main menu, the Figma logo that says main menu, you see all of the menus that you can work with when you are creating your UI UX designs, from file to edit, view, and so on and so forth. Under file, you can see new design file, which was the button we clicked before the interface was open to us. So you can also create new file using the Figma main menu logo you can see over here, and some other things you can, other menus you can find under file. If you also come to edit, there are various menu under edit that you can make use of, and so on and so forth. View object, you will get to so many of this menu list you can see over here during the course of the class. Now, away from the main menu, the other items you can see over here, starting from this icon that says move to this other icon that says add comment, is the tools. So these are the tools you can make use of while you are working on Figma. When the class starts fully, when we start creating our designs, you get to know how to use all of these tools and what they all do. So now the other part of the top side of the screen that you can see here says drafts, and the other text says untitled. So this is the part of Figma where the project we are created right now is being saved. So it's just like a drive on Figma where our project is saved. This is the title of our project, so you can change the title from here and give the project a favorite name you want to give your project. Now, there's an option menu here that says show version history. So show version history is, how many times you have saved your project, different changes that has occurred on each of the projects you have saved, and so on and so forth. Then you can also export your project using this menu link you can see over here that says export. Also, you can duplicate your project, you can rename, delete, and so on and so forth. Then over here on the right side, you can see um, some other buttons that it says this is your profile. In this case, this is my profile. I can view my profile using this. Then you can now share. So this is how you can share your project with your friends. You can share your project with anyone. You can share with anybody you want to collaborate with you on the project you are working on. Then the button here says present. So let's assume the way your project will look like once it's live, a website, a mobile application, a web application, and so on. Once it's live and people can make use of it, the way it will be displayed. So this is the button that will show you what it will look like if it is live. Now, this last one that you can see over here says zoom view options. So if you're working on a project within here and you feel it's too small for you to see, you can easily use this to zoom in, zoom out, zoom to fit. Then, the exact size we have right now is zoomed to 100%. So that's how we are going to work right now. But at any point in time, you might feel it's too large and you want to reduce you want to scale it either in or out, and so on and so forth. It depends on how you want to view your project. So this is the option that you be making use of to zoom in, zoom out into your project. Now, let's come to the left side of the screen. Now, the left side of the screen is where you have two tabs that says layers and the other one say assets. So if you use any of these tools to create something within this place, it will be arranged over here. So you can see, if you can't see them clearly the way it is stacked over one another, you can always see them clearly arranged under layers tab. Then assets is where you can make use of different components that you have created within your project. You will get to see what assets is being used for, and how to keep your stuffs within assets and then make use of them at a later time. Now let's come over to the right side. The right side of the screen is where you have three tabs that says design, prototype, and inspect. So under design, you can see a little, just one or two options because we don't already have the project we are working on right now. So that's the reason why you have few options that are here. Now, these few options that you can see here is a good example of what the design tab is being used for. So in this case, we have an empty space that shows a grade that shows a gray color and a gray background. So this is what you can see here. Whatever elements you have created within your canvas layer will definitely appear under the design tab, as the properties can easily be changed or be set to whatever you want here. So in this case, if we want our empty background to change color from the gray color you can see now, that means we can just give it any color we want and it will change to that particular color. So automatically the properties of whatever you have within your canvas layer is going to be changeable over here, and you can add or remove property settings from here. Now the other one you can see is the prototype tab. Now prototype tab is where you can link your pages. It will help you link between pages. So if you have a website that says home, about, services, so and you want your users to be able to link to your about page, and you have 3 pages created within your website, so users can be able to go from one page to the other. And within your design, how do you make this possible? You can make it possible by doing that under the prototype. So your design cannot make it possible. All you do under design is to create your pages, and you come to prototype to link them. So a user will be able to go from one page to the other. So that's the essence of having a prototype tab that you can see here. And you can do fun things under the prototype. Now the other one that says inspect, this other type that says inspect means all of the elements that you have created within the canvas layout can all each element you have within the canvas layout has a CSS property, and these CSS properties can be used while your developer or your programmer is working on this project that you have designed. So your programmer will be able to make use of each of the properties to create a live website. So in this case, we have this colored background. So if this is the only thing we want to give to our developer to design for us, so automatically our developer already has a CSS code to use in making the design. So in this case, you can see we have a background that has a CSS code of what you can see over here right now. All right, so let's return our canvas background to what the original color it used to be. All right, so one of the things I want you to take note of before we get started with Figma is keyboard shortcuts. So to speed up your work, you really need to be able to know how to use keyboard shortcuts. So right now, let's create a frame. So to create a frame, you come to the tools section over here, and then you click on this symbol that looks like an hashtag. Then you can see frame. Now the shortcut for the frame is F. So if you hit F on the keyboard, it will help you to select the frame button quickly, and you can create a frame immediately. Now, the first thing I want you to notice once you click on frame is you look on the right side of the screen, and you can see under the design tab that you have new activities happening over here. And this means our frame can be used to create different screen display that we can use to make our UI UX design. So in this case, frame means creating the canvas layer that represents the screen type that you want to design for. So what we are going to do right now is select the iPhone 8 screen. If you like, you can play with any of the other screens that you can see over here. It depends on what you want to design. But for the purpose of this class, we are going to design for iPhone 8. Choose anyone you like. It is free for you to design whatever you want. But in this case, we are going to select iPhone 8. So selecting iPhone 8 will create this canvas layer for us where we can make our designs possible. And the other thing you need to know is the ant tool that is over here. So this ant tool, the shortcut is H, meaning if you hit H on the keyboard, you quickly select the ant tool like I have done right now. So the function of this ant tool is for you to be able to move your frame around the screen. So if you have the ant tool active, you can click anywhere on the screen. It doesn't have to be the frame. So you can click anywhere on the screen, then hold down, then drag to any part that you want. So that's the function of the ant tool. For every of the tool that you have chosen at any particular time, always remember to go back to the move tool, which is using the shortcut V on the keyboard. So, or you come over here and select the move tool. Whatever tool you have selected and you have made use of, always remember to return to the move tool by using the shortcut V on the keyboard. So right now, what we are going to do, we are going to create a text layer. So to create a text layer, come to the tools section and then select the icon that you can see over here that says T and it is text. So this text tool, once selected or using the shortcut T on the keyboard, once you have it selected, you can click anywhere on the screen and then type any text that you want. So in this case, we click within our frame and then we can be able to type. So anything you want to type, but in this case, I'm going to type text layer. So let me zoom it in. To zoom into your frame, there's a keyboard shortcut you can make use of. So that keyboard shortcut you can use along with your mouse is the command key on the MacBook or the control key on the Windows laptop. And once you hold the control or command key, once you hold it down, you can then scroll your mouse using the middle button between the left and the right click. So if you do so, it will help you zoom in or out on the particular place where your mouse is placed. So in this case, if I have my mouse on the text and I hold command or control on the keyboard, then scroll, you can see the scrolling in and out is happening on the text directly. So that's one of the ways you can zoom in or out using the keyboard shortcut and then with your mouse. Now, one thing I want to show you right now is the reason why the text you have over here is pixelating. So if you remember, there was a particular time I was over here and I mistakenly clicked on this pixel preview. So pixel preview will make your elements pixelate in this form. So if you have done this by mistake at any point in time, all you should just do is come to the drop down menu here that says pixel preview, then come to disable and you can see the shortcut over here. This is how you can get it disabled and your layer will become clear and looking crystal clear. So now I've disabled it and you can see that the text layer is now showing clearly. So the other thing we are going to create now is a shape layer. So if you can see the box over here in the tool section says rectangle and you can create a rectangle or any other shape using the rectangle tool using the arrow shortcut on the keyboard. So once you select this tool that says rectangle, you'll be able to create any rectangular shape within your canvas by clicking on the canvas layer, then drag. So your shape will be automatically created. Now let me also show you quickly. If you create a text layer like this and a shape layer in this form, it could be any layer that you have created, any elements within your frame that you have created. If you notice, if I drag the rectangle shape to the text layer, you can see that the rectangle shape I have created is overlapping on that text layer, and it's possible you want your text layer to come on top of the other shapes that you have, or maybe you want the rectangle shape to go behind the text layer or whatever layer you have on the frame's canvas layout. So what you can do in this case is either using your keyboard shortcut or sending the shape to the back means you either right click on that particular layer that you want to rearrange, and then you can see this section of the menu that says bring forward, bring to front, send backward, send to back, and you can see the keyboard shortcuts. So right now what we want to do is send to back. So we are sending the rectangle shape to back. So sending backward using this option will send your layer to the back one step. So if you have like 10 items um, overlapped on one another, you can send to back one after the other using this option you can see here. Or if you are sending your item to the very back of all of the layers you have within your frame, then you can use send to back. It will send the item to the very back of all of the items you have on the screen. So right now we are sending to the back one step using the send backward option. So now you can see that the shape layer is behind the text layer. Then one other thing you can also do is to align your items. So right now, let's assume we have our shape layer somewhere around here and we want to align items together. So if you come over here on the right sidebar under design tab, you can see various options, various icons here, from the first one that says align left. So align left means you can arrange your items to align to each other on the left side here. Then there's the other one that says align horizontal centers. Let's get to use them one after the other. So what you can do with align left is to select two layers and align them on the left side, or if you have a single layer selected within your frame, you can decide to align left by selecting the particular layer that you want to align within your frame, then click align left, then it will align to the left side of the screen. Now let me undo. So if you are not aligning to the left side of the screen, if you want two items you have within your frame to be aligned to each other, all you have to do is select one of the items, then select the other one. Now how do you do this? You have to hold shift while you have one of the layers selected. So hold shift, then click the other layer that you want to align together, or the other layer that you want to work on both items together. So the two layers will be selected at the same time. So this time you can now use align left to align both. So you can see they are both aligned to the left side of the screen of one another. Now the other thing you can also do is the align horizontal centers here. Now if you click on align horizontal centers, it will align the text layer and the shape layer together. So in this case, it will bring the shape layer to the center of the text, meaning both layers will be centered. Now see what it does. Once you click on this, you can see the text layer and the shape layer is aligned together. Now the other one that you can see over here says align right. So once you click align right, it will align this shape to the other side of the text layer on the right side. So this is what it does. You can see. Now coming over here, if you want to see what align top will do to your elements within your frame, now in this case I will unselect both layers, then try to drag the shape layer, then drag the shape layer somewhere around here, not aligning with the text at the top, so that we can see clearly how that happens. So now that I have my shape layer here, I'll also select the text layer by holding down shift on the keyboard. Then I'll come to align top, then click on align top. Now you can see that the text layer is aligned with the rectangle shape from the top side of both of them. Now the other one you can see here says align vertical centers. So align vertical centers means things will be moved either to the top or to the bottom to align stuff together on the screen. So it means even if it is the text layer, it will either be moved to the top or to the downside of the other item, so that both of them will be aligned together on the horizontal level. But meanwhile, the movement will happen either vertically upwards or vertically downwards. So that's what you see now by clicking on align vertical centers. You can see the text was moved down a little bit, and the shape layer too was also moved, and both of them were aligned. Sorry, and both of them were aligned together by moving the text layer downwards a little bit, and the shape layer was moved upwards a little bit. Now, the other one that you can see here says align bottom. So to align things to the bottom side means the text layer will be moved downward so that the two layers will be aligned together on the downside. So now let's see how that works. You can see. So now the two layers are aligned together. So this is how you use your align options over here to align things the way you want. So it could be any item that you have created within your frame to work with. Just try and align to any part of the screen or within items to get the desired results that you want. Next thing we want to do now is to be able to change the color of the rectangle shape layer, and also be able to do one fancy design on the rectangle shape layer. So let's see how that goes. So if you select your rectangle shape layer, you'll be able to change the color by coming to the right side of the screen under design. So this sidebar, the properties you can see over here is for each item you have selected on the screen. It could be the frame itself, it could be any element you have within the frame, and it could also be the layout, the main layout that you can see over here that we saw earlier. So whatever you have selected on the screen, the properties will be displayed on the right side of design tab that you can see here. So from this properties section, which is where you can inspect the properties of any layer that you have selected at the current time. So you can see a section that says fill. So in this fill section, that is where you can change the color of any element you have within your frame. So in this case, we want to change the color of this rectangle shape layer you can see here. The default color you can see now is the C4, C4, C4 that you can see here. So you can easily change the color by changing the color code of C4, C4, C4. So if you already know the color code you want to apply to the element, just change it directly from here. But if you don't already know the color you want to use, this square box that you can see here that has the same color with the item you selected, because it will always have the color of that item you have selected. So that's what you click. So once you click on this, you'll be able to change the color of the item that you have displayed on the screen. So right now, let's say we are just going to give our rectangle shape layer a red color, and if you don't want to give the red color that you can see here, you can just check the various color that you can see within the bar that is down here. So if you select from any part of this bar, you can pick any color you want and then give to your elements. Then the color code for the color I've just selected now is what you can see here, and it's still the same thing that is over here, the 25EC21. So if you already have the color code of what you want to do, just paste it directly here, type it here, or come over here, click, then type. The other thing we can also do is to change the font of our text layer. So to change the font of the text layer, maybe you don't like the particular font you can see right now, you can click on the text layer or whatever text you have created, then come over to the properties sidebar under design tab. Then if you scroll down a little bit, you can see the section that says text. Here you can change the font type of your text. So in this case, we have a font that says, so in this case, you can just click within here and then put the name of the font that you have installed on your computer. If you don't know the name of the font you want to use, just click on this drop down option. Then it will show you the list of various fonts that you can choose from. Then the other thing you can also do is to change the font weight of your text. So changing the font weight means you want it to be thicker and maybe more bold. And that means you can click on this drop down menu, then pick the particular font weight you want from here. So let's just choose black. And you can see that the thickness of the text layer has increased. One other thing you can also do with the text properties of your text layer is to change the font size over here. So once you click within this space that says 12, you can easily change the value of your text layer. In this case, let's just give it a value of 20 and then hit enter. Then you can see that the text has increased in size. There are many other things you can also do with the properties section, and you get to see them when we start designing. Right now, we are going to create our first app, and it's going to be a login screen of a mobile app. So I'm going to remove the text layer and the other shape I have on the screen so we can start working on our application. So we already have a frame that we have created. The first thing you want to do is to create a column grid. Now, to create a column grid, make sure you have your frame selected first. Click on the name of the frame. Then you can see the properties of the frame displayed on the right sidebar here. So if you come under design tab, you can see the properties of our frame. And then if you look at this section that says layout grid, so once you click on layout grid, an option will be displayed, and under this option you can see a settings that says layout grid settings. So once you click on this layout grid settings, you'll be able to change the properties of your grid layout. But we are not going to use grid. We are going to change the grid option to columns. So click on this drop down arrow, and then you can be able to change to columns. That's what we want. So now you can change the properties of these columns by changing the count. So change the count to 3, then change the gutter. Come down and you see gutter, then you can now change the gutter to 16. Then if you go up a little bit, you can see margin that says 0. Change it to 16 also, just this way. So now, why do we need to create a column grid? Now, the reason why we need to create a column grid is for it to be able to give us a guide to create our UI UX design. Now, it is of good standard to create your designs following guides. Now, this guide will be able to help you put your elements in the proper place within the screen. So now you can see the space we have over here and this other side. The reason why we have this space is because we want to create all our elements within the frame and make sure it starts from the beginning of this first bar and everything ends at the end of this last bar. So all of our items and elements will be placed within these 3 bars, and none will come out of the screen on this side. The elements we want our users to interact with will be between the 3 bars we have over here, and other elements that users don't have to interact with can always appear outside of the 3 bars. So that means maybe your application background can also appear outside of the 3 bars. But if you know there's anything you want your users to interact with, maybe they want to read or they want to click on buttons, make sure you create your design in such a way that all of interactive elements are always within the column layout you have created. So that's the essence of creating a columns layout or columns grid layout. So now that we have our grid layout set, you can always change the color from here. So let's say the color of our layout is picked from okay, this section. Yeah, I think it's fine like this. Yeah, so you can close, then our application design can now start. So the first thing we want to do is to give our application a name, and remember to type out the name of your application. You have to go to the tool section over here and click the text tool. So once you have the text tool selected, then come over to your frame, then click any part of the frame, then type the name of the application you are designing for. So in this case, the name of our application is going to be IMA app. You can give your application any name that you want. So this is the name that we want to use right now. So once you are done typing the name of your application, then hit the escape key on the keyboard so you can be able to do some other things. So now let's just assume our application name is going to be placed around here. So the next thing I want to do now is to be able to create a rectangular box, and this rectangular box will be created using the rectangle tool over here that says rectangle, and the shortcut is R. So you can use the shortcut R on your keyboard to quickly select the rectangle tool. Now I'm going to draw a tiny rectangular box down here. So the next thing I want to do now is to create a text within this box and call it username. So I'm going to click the text tool, then click within here. You can click anywhere on the screen to type. Then once you are done typing, then you can drag it to the top of the rectangle shape you have created. So in this case, I'm going to call my text username. Once I'm done typing, then I'll hit the escape key on the keyboard, then align it very well with the rectangle shape layer I've already created. If you don't drag the text to the rectangle shape layer to place it on top of the shape, you can always select your text layer and your shape, then come over to the align options and then say align horizontal centers, then align vertical centers. So it will help you align your text layer to the center of the shape layer you already have. Now if you want to bring your text to the very beginning of the shape layer, remember you are going to use this option here that says align left. But meanwhile, we are not going to allow our text to stay at the very edge of the shape layer we have created. What we are going to do is move our text layer away a little bit from the edge of the shape. And then meanwhile, we are going to make sure our shape layer is a little bit bigger than this by clicking on any of the 4 points you can see here, then click, hold and drag out a little bit, just a little bit like this. Now I'm going to reposition the text by clicking on the text first, then click and drag to reposition to where I want. One other thing you can notice with this username is the username font weight is too thick. So I'm going to change it from here and then say regular. I'm going to choose regular as the font weight. Then the font size is too much. So I'm going to reduce it also to something like 14, then hit enter. All right, so I think it's okay like this. Then rearrange it again. Now the next thing I want to do is to change the color of the rectangle shape layer I have created. I'm going to change it to let's say white. Yeah, and I know you cannot see it right now, so we are going to create a background for our frame. So all of the things we do on this frame will be able to become visible. So now let's click on the rectangle shape layer and create our rectangle background on the frame. So just click on any point and then drag and create your rectangle background shape. So how do you know where to drag and stop? Now you can see that at the edge, at the right edge of the frame, there's a red line that is showing there. And if you drag your background shape downwards a little bit, you can see that at the down part of the frame, there's a red line that is also showing. So that means you have gotten to the edge of the screen. So this is not compulsory that you do. Even if you create your background layer and you stop around here, then what the next thing you can also do is to just look for the points you want to expand the background layer. So just click on that point, then drag till you get to the part you want. So we are going to do the same thing for the top part over here and make sure that it's touching the edge of the frame. Now, what you can see here right now is the background layer I have created is covering the layers, other layers that I have created. So what I'm going to do is to send the background layer to the back. So how do I do this? I told you two options. One, you can use shortcut. The other one, you can just right click on the item you want to send to back or you want to bring to front. The reason why you cannot always use this option of right clicking on that item is when you have too many items within your frame and you don't know the exact one you are right clicking on. So you can always use the shortcut to either send to back or bring to front. So right now that we don't have many activities happening within our frame, so let's right click and then choose send backward, and to send it backward one step. As you can see now, our app screen is not showing yet, and the other items we have are not showing. So it means we are sending this background layer to the back one step at a time. But if you want to send to back all at once, just click on send to back. So everything is now showing. So now we can continue with our design. What we want to do is to create our password field. And how do we do that? Select the name of the text, select the text and the shape layer you have created, and then duplicate it to create our password field very quickly. You don't have to start creating your shape for password field again, then creating a new text. So we want to create the password field now by selecting the username text, then the shape that we have created at the back. So once you have both selected, what you can do is duplicate. How do you duplicate this right now? You can use the keyboard shortcut that says Command D, or on your Windows laptop you can use Control D to duplicate. So now I have duplicated. So what I'll do now is drag this because it is overlapped on one another. So I'll drag it down to see both. As you can see now, we have two different items, a duplicate. So next thing we are going to do is to change the name of this text to password. Right now, I'll change it to password. So remember to hit escape on the keyboard to leave the type 2. So the next thing we want to do is to be able to create a login button for our screen. So we are going to create a login button for this screen right now. And let me quickly create new shape, new rectangle shape right here. So select using the R shortcut on the keyboard, and then let's just create a little shape over here, and then let's give it a different color. So right now I'm going to choose color yellow at the top here, and then I'm going to close, then type the name of the button, which selecting this text tool over here will help us to type the name of the button. So the button is sign in. So we want our users to be able to sign in to the application. That's the reason why we are creating this login screen. So hit escape on the keyboard to leave the text tool, and then let's align our text by clicking on the text and dragging to center it within here. So right now our sign-in text and the shape layer is well aligned and it's looking like a button already. So now everything is well positioned now. The next thing we want to do is to unlock our background. We are going to unlock our background now, and then we are going to make it look fancy a little bit. Now if you want to do something like that, we are going to change the color. But meanwhile, the color we want to change in this case, let's select our background first. Now the color we want to change in this case is different from the single color you have seen earlier. we are going to come over here where you can see solid, then click on the drop down menu that says linear. So once you have linear selected, we are going to automatically have two colors for our background layer. So we are going to select something colorful now. And how do you know how to do this? Now, if you can see, there's a line that crosses our screen. Now, beside this line at the top is a box, and at the downside is also a box. Now, these boxes you can see here are also the boxes that you can see over here. So selecting one of the boxes over here, you'll be able to give one part of the linear colors. You can be able to give it a particular color you want. So in this case, let's choose from this blue side and then click somewhere around here. Then let's select this other color too, and then let's choose from somewhere around there. Then maybe something very colorful. And now there's something happening here right now. You can see that the other color we have selected is showing two colors here. Now these two colors means it is faded in terms of the opacity. So the opacity is 0. Now what we can do in this case is to change the opacity to 100 so that it will give us the full color that we want. So we are going to set it to 100% by changing it to 100. Okay, right now you can see that now that we have changed it to 100, we have the full color, the bright color that we want. So this is how we want it to appear. Now closing this up, you can see that our text layer is not really coming out bright anymore, so we need to change the color to white also. So selecting the layer that you want to change the properties, then coming under the design tab, scroll down to the part that you want, which is fill. In this case, that's where we want to change the color. So we are going to select white. Okay, the other thing you want to know right now is that we want to increase the size of our font a little bit. That 20 seems a little bit too small, so let's give it 40. Then remember, we are going to center align it again. So come to the top and then click on the align option that says align horizontal centers. Now it is well aligned. So our application login screen is well set. You can always design it to what you want by changing some other properties you feel like changing, or if you feel it's okay this way, you can leave it like that. Let's just add one more fancy design to the login button over here. So come to the corner radius option here. Once you have the shape layer selected, come to the corner radius and let's give it 20. All right, I think it's looking good a bit. Now there are some things I've not told you. Look at this, our frame, this screen that we have over here, the login screen. There are many activities that we have created on this login screen. But if you look on the left side under the layers tab, you can see our iPhone 8-1 that we have given it that name. We can always change the name from double clicking on this name over here or changing it over here. So if you change it from here by double clicking on the name of the screen, you can always give it the name you want. In this case, we are going to give it login. So that's the name we want to give it. Notice immediately we change the name of the screen, it appeared over here too. So you can either change it here or change it directly on the frame. Now, if you also notice there are activities happening here too, all of what you can see under this login frame are the layers we have created within the frame. So one on top of each other, as you can see, is created here. So now you need to keep your layers organized and well arranged. How do you do that? So let's assume that we have the background selected now and we move it to the top of the layers. See what happens. So you have to keep everything arranged, well arranged. So we have to drag our background to the very bottom and then change the name. Let's give it a name. So everything has a name. By the time we want to you know, edit, or there's something you want to do within your layers, you can easily locate the layer you want under the layers sidebar. So let's give our background layer a name by double clicking on the name. Then let's just give it background. All right. So the next one we have over here is the username and the background of username, which is the background you can see here. So let's call this username bg for background, then hit enter. Then you can see the username over here. So let's place the username background under the username text. Then the next one you can see here is the password. So this is password and this is the background for it. So let's quickly give that background a name also by double clicking on the name of the background, and then give it the name we want. So we are going to call it password bg for background, then hit enter. Then let's drag the password background to where we can see password. Then the next thing we want to do is sign in. We want to arrange sign in to and give the background a name. So this is the background for sign in, so we are going to call it sign in bg. All right, so everything is giving the right name, but we have to also rearrange it very well. So the first thing we have is the app name. Then the second one we want to have is the username and the username background. So let's just select both and then drag it to the bottom of the app name. Then the next one we want to have is the password and the password background. So hold shift to select the other one, then drag it to the down part of the username. So the last one we have over here is the sign in. So sign in is already where it should be, and then the background also. Now, one last thing I want to show you is creating other screens. So you want to have a login screen. You also want to have a sign up screen. How do you do this? Come to the tool section, then select on frame. So once you click frame, you can see the options you have over here. So what we already have here that we are designing for is iPhone 8. So just click on iPhone 8. It will create another screen for you for iPhone 8. Now, if you are not doing that, let's just delete it and let me show you another option of doing that. If you are not going to frames tools to create a new frame, the other thing you can do is hold command or control on the keyboard and then press C on the keyboard. Then you can copy, then click out of the screen on an empty space and then click and then press command or control V to paste. So you can have a duplicate screen. And if you are not doing that, you can also select the name of the frame, then you can hit command D or control D on the keyboard if you are using a Windows keyboard, and that will automatically duplicate it for you. You can see. So the other thing you can also do is to be able to select the name of the frame, then hold alternate on the keyboard if you are using a Windows keyboard, or option key on the Mac keyboard. Hold the key down, then click and then drag. Then you create a duplicate of this screen. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for being a part of the class and for making it possible for us to bring this to you. We love you all, and remember, next week the second class on Figma continues.